Ladies and gentlemen, if you play Watcher of Realms, you probably know how important Lady Alexandra is inside the game. Now, of course, this isn't a Lady Alexandra showcase because I'm not lucky enough to have her, nor is it going to be talking about her skills or anything like that because I don't particularly care until I have her. But that being said, as you can see, people rate her pretty highly in pretty much every single area of the game, and she is locked behind potentially some of the most insane requirements ever, which is the Apex coins that you get by farming inside the arena, right? So you get these from Platinum 3 and up, basically. So Platinum 3, Overlord, and an Apex Overlord for wins, and then you get them from all three again at the end of your reset, right? But definitely the most efficient way to farm it is going to be Overlord or Apex Overlord, because then you get them per battle every time you win as well. Plus you're getting some additional really good goodies there on the reset, right? So all that being said, we're going to be talking today about a team for the anti-air DPS section that's going to help you get towards her a lot quicker. Now, I'm halfway through Platinum 3 myself with 1,846 points. This particular team helps keep me solidly inside this ranking, as well as allows me to push up even higher sometimes. As you can see, you're kind of locked in, especially at Overlord and like Apex Overlord, to having a couple of different options. So we'll talk about like some win conditions that you can either have or be facing, and then we'll also talk about win conditions and how to do it on your side of things. So obviously, by far the most popular hero, and we're not going to be talking about Lady Alexandra because we're just going to assume at this point that you don't have her, is Valara, right? So if you look at like any of the good teams here, you'll see that Valara is in them. And then the next option after that is going to be Yuri. So Yuri and Valara are both very strong win conditions because Valara allows you to bring in Arbiter teams. She's one of the only units that allows you to bring Arbiter teams. She's the only unit that allows you to bring an Arbiter team, right? So Valara enables your Praetus and enables your Ingrid teams so effectively that she is basically mandatory if you're trying to run those. And then the other option is Yuri allows you to cycle her ultimate incredibly quickly for the first couple of rounds, so that you can basically take the opponent down to such low HP off the start. Really, all you have to do after that is just survive and make sure that they don't get you down lower than them. After the 9 rounds play out, you're going to go ahead and win it, right? So I'm going to be completely honest though, guys. This is hard content. Like, this is PvP. You are going to need one of like 4 options, and if you don't have those, right, maybe 5 options. If you don't have those, you're not going to be pushing into Overlord, and you're certainly not going to be really farming it, right? So those options would be Valara first and foremost, right? Ingrid would be another option. Somebody like a Yuri is going to be another very strong win condition. Nyx and then Kai are your other options as well. So those are pretty much your 5 primary options for getting through the anti-air DPS. Now, an important call out is that if you're using Nyx and if you're using Kai, Nyx has to be at least A3 to be able to do it consistently. And then Kai does have to be awakened as well. I don't know off the top of my head what his awaken has to be. I think it has to be A5 for him to be able to do it consistently. But if you don't have an A3 Nyx or an A5 Kai, you're probably not going to have a good experience with those heroes. Specifically, the A3 Nyx, because that restores her rage when she kills somebody, and it takes so damn long to get her rage back otherwise. Beelzebub as well as Ajax are very useful units to have as well. So they're a decent way to go. Obviously, the cost of Ajax is obscene, and then Beelzebub brings in like some CC. So if you're using cultist teams, he can be very strong. I'll take a look and see if we can find any of those there for you. But for the anti-air, you're really looking at like those as your options, right? So you can see some of the top-ranked players. You have an A5 Valara. You have a Valara here. Erlang Shen is a very popular hero now as well. So if you have him, you definitely probably want to be using him. We'll go down to kind of like the top 300 here and see what they're rocking. No team info, fantastic. Even better. No team info for any of these guys. Love to see it. But here we are. We have a Lady Alexandra, but then guess what? A Valara, right? So you can really see how important she is. Now, I always say this because my account is pretty much free to play. I kind of talked about this a little bit. So I've purchased the skin for Lust. That's all I've purchased, right? So if we go and we find Busty Lusty here, wherever she might be, I've purchased a skin for her, and that's all I've done inside the game. So I'm 100% free to play apart from just purchasing this, because I absolutely love the way it looked, and I managed to get a pretty good discount on it too, so I can't complain. So everything else here, though, is completely attainable, realistically, for a free-to-play player, right? I haven't spent a single cent. It's just going to take you a lot of playing, a lot of grinding, and smart resource usage. Now, my Ingrid is not awakened, right? So this is going to be kind of like a pseudo guide as well as a showcase of my team. My Praetus is A1, so A1 Praetus is fantastic. My Valara, unfortunately, is not awakened. I wish I had a couple of copies of her to get her at least A1. I do have Ymeric in here, so Ymeric is, you know, a very strong option to essentially just power up Praetus, since he can be another Arbiter unit. But this is the team. This is the team that I'm using. Now, if you don't have this team, if you can't make this team, I'll show you some other options that might work as well. So another option that I was using quite a bit was actually a Piercer team. So you can use Eovar or you can use Araka. Your best bet's definitely going to be Eovar. You could use some of the Epic Lords if you're lower ranked as well. That would work perfectly fine. Then you would want Yuri. You can bring in Nyx, and then you'd still be bringing in like your Diao Chan, right, wherever she might be. I'm missing her apparently, and Valara preferably if you have her. So that's another potential team option. You can also bring in a healer. Some sort of a healer would be very strong for this, right? So bringing in an Eloin to help everybody rage cycle would be very strong. Another really good call out is a where is she? A Hatsuit. So Hatsuit can help you cycle through the kind of mob rounds, because if you don't have your Nyx ultimate up, and if you don't have Yuri who's able to cycle quickly between those targets, it can be very sketchy whether or not you actually get those rounds down. So the rounds where you have like, you know, 12 plus enemies coming out there to meet you. You want to stick away from, in most cases, single target damage dealers for this mode, right? So, you know, stay away from Silas, stay away from your Sargax, stay away from your Hexes, stay away from your Alluras. I don't know why you'd be using her here anyways, but those sorts of single target damage dealers just don't really have a place here. Now, if you don't have a Hatsuit, another potential way to approach it is with CC. So you could use somebody like a Theowin is very strong for this. You could, of course, also use a Mari, right? So hard CC coming through the forms of slows. And then you also get damage with the Theowin as well. So Theowin is a very, very strong unit. Now, I have my window open because it is hot as hell. It's like 40 above today, and it smells like somebody is enjoying the devil's lettuce, so to speak, and it's absolutely disgusting. I hate the smell of it, but, you know, just had to mention it. And for YouTube standards, it's 100% legal where I am, so don't demonetize me, please. But those are your options. Again, you could replace Nyx with an Awakened Hex. Or not Hex, sorry, Kai, if you have a Kai to use, but you're just generally wanting some sort of AoE DPS that you can use. Now, let's go ahead and hop into it as far as my team works. I'm going to throw this on auto. As you can see, I have like 528,000 BP in my auto fight, 531 in my non-auto fight, so plenty of BP. This team is going to work very well against lower BP teams, and we do have a couple of weaknesses. So, obviously, the first weakness to mention would be Yuri. On the second round, we lose a lot of HP to Yuri. And I'm just kind of talking you through this. It's going on auto in the background. I'll take over if anything sketchy happens, right? So this is kind of what's happening, though. I don't recommend triggering Valara during the first 2 rounds at all. Again, like I mentioned, we do lose a lot of HP here. Now, your Valara can be triggered on the 3rd round because you have a bunch of these mobs coming out, and then she can just take them down really quick with her ultimate and ensure that nothing gets past her and that she doesn't leak. So even if you have a very strong Valara who can take them down quickly, I do still recommend popping her ultimate on the 3rd round, because if you're on defense going against somebody with a higher BP, there's a very strong chance that you're going to leak, right? So just something to consider there as well. Even, like, it's just better to play it in your favor when it comes to the RNG, because obviously if you're not in control, you can't take it off auto and you can't say, hey, I don't want this. There's a couple different ways you can do this. So obviously you've seen that I placed Valara, I placed Diao Chan, and then I placed my Praetus. That is probably what I would recommend if you're using this particular team. But instead of Praetus, you can also put down your Ingrid first if you can either get the cost or if you can like get her out quick enough. Now, we do have to take over here because we did have some leakage happening, so we need to make sure that we don't lose the fight there. I'm going to go ahead and pop Valara here. Probably pop Praetus as well, just so we can get through these big guys real quick. And then we'll just try and sync up our Praetus button with the Ingrid pops there as well. And it looks like we should get through them first. There we go. I don't know if we're going to be quick enough to win this, though. We do still have 1 round to go. Kind of the thing with Ingrid teams is they definitely come alive in like round 9 from what I've noticed. So here we're going to have Ymeric popping his ultimate so he can really hard CC everybody there at the start. Again, if you don't have a Ymeric, just replace him with somebody like a Theowen, somebody like a Mari, and they're going to do essentially the same thing. The enemy team here is kind of like the perfect showcase for how you want to approach these fights if you don't have the options that I have on my team. So you can see they're using a Mari to really slow everybody down and just kind of keep them in the kill box. And then they have Yuri doing a lot of damage, and then they have obviously a Hatsuit who can pop her ultimate when everybody gets close. And you know, it's a very competent team. As you've seen, this team that has what, like 40k, 50k less BP than me almost beat me. Right? If I didn't take over, they would have beat me because of my leak there. So that really just goes to show you how strong that particular team composition is. So very, very well thought out team there. The only thing I'd really say is ideally you'd want Hatsuit replaced by somebody that's going to benefit from the Eovar blessing. Though having somebody from the Piercer faction who can just do really insane bursts of damage like that is quite rare. So that's when it comes down to, again, like a Nyx, right? Might be a good option, but obviously a 22 cost Nyx versus a 12 cost Hatsuit, it's kind of like, you know, okay, maybe maybe Hatsuit's okay, right? Kai, I forget how much he costs, but again, he's a very, very decent option for this as well, even if he's not fully awakened at the end of the day, right? So his cost is still 22, so he's a bit of a chunky boy, certainly. But, you know, that's my team. That's a pretty fantastic team on the defending side, too, so you can really see how valuable both of these options are, right? So now, if you don't have Diao-Chan, I would recommend maybe just steering away from an inspiration unit. Like, there's really a couple of options you can look at if you don't have Diao-Chan. So, obviously, if you have a Nerissa, she can come in and she can apply inspiration to whoever it is that has your highest attack, so that's something to consider. Diao-Chan A1 is best in slot, hands down, no questions, right? Dolores may help you out at the lower level, but I would say just bringing in additional DPS in her slot instead is probably going to benefit you more. Or perhaps if you have an Eloin who can do some heals, or even a Hollow who can do heals plus rage regen, is probably going to benefit you more than a Dolores who may not always be able to have her ultimate up. Pharisee can be very good with his AoE inspiration as well. And then, of course, Beelzebub, if you have him, is going to be very strong for inspiration as well, I believe, right? So, is he a mage? I believe so. Yes, right here. So, if we look at his skills, I believe he brings inspiration somewhere. I could be completely wrong on that. Yes, he does. So, during the ultimate, applies a 50% inspiration to allies in the hero's range. As you can see, he has a pretty damn decent range, certainly. So he's an option, plus he brings CC, right? Cultist teams are semi-viable for anti-air, though Cultist teams really shine when it comes to AoE DPS, which, if this video gets enough traction, enough likes, and all that sort of good stuff, I may do an AoE DPS showcase for you guys when that pops around as well. So we're coming to kind of the end here. This has been 14 minutes of talking and showing to you guys how you want to beat the arena inside the anti-air DPS challenge. Let me know down below if there's any specific content that you guys are struggling with, any specific questions you guys might have about the arena or other areas of the game, right? I'm really enjoying making content for Watcher of Realms, and you guys are absolutely fantastic with the support coming on the channel. Also, make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel so that YouTube knows that you like the content and it pushes it out to more people. Share it with your friends and family, right? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.